Ooh. Okay. My voice sounds terribly weird, doesn't it?
Oh my god, did you just ingest a helium balloon?
My voice sounds so ridiculous right now.
That's the real flamboyant Brian that we all have come to know.
Welcome every. You know what? Actually, that's how. You just go ahead and start it, and that's what I'm going to come in as. Is like, well, I think I've got all my audio.
Well, the good news is that this is going already.
Perfect. I've already got all my audio fixed and set up from last week. I'm not sure what was going on, but I think it's going to be much better now.
This sounds like a Terrence and Phillip presenting fantasy football.
Oh man, dude, have you seen any of the new South Parks? Just kind of off topic. Some like just this new season. Oh,
I
Jesus!
don't. The last season I saw was, God damn it, the one where they like created this whole new town,
Like the
and
piece. Oh, the Soda Sopa.
yeah,
Like
Soda Sopa.
that's.
That was the latest season that I saw.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so I guess it just started like I think a couple weeks ago, and already they're just going hard. All right, but we're not here to talk about South Park. We're here to talk about this wild fucking weekend that's still actually going right now. We're recording during the Monday Night Football game. I just watched. Well, it might have been a replay of Stefan Diggs getting a catch, but this is kind of weird. There's a lot of games that are going right now that have implications. Like what we were looking at this earlier. What
Yeah,
is it? 3 games? Okay,
yeah,
so
three games
so
have.
Joe.
Yep, go ahead.
Joey and Chris. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Joey and Chris got implications right now with Chris having Sterling Shepard, Nick and Misha. Misha's got Stefan Diggs. Nick's got Odell and Vikings defense. And then let's see what we got. Okay, the last one. Car Ramrod, good old Derek Miranda, and Stinking Papa Pants. Yeah, with Eli and Kyle Rudolph, respectively.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
These are incredibly close. Like
they're
Derek and John right now are 123 to 123.5. I mean, you have to think that Derek should pull this one out. He's got Eli Manning. He's got a quarterback going.
If Eli can get another touchdown, or just a touchdown, if Eli can get a
Yeah,
touchdown, yeah, I think Derek could come away and win it. And Papa Pants is going down. He's going
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. I
But
would. I'd be happy if that happened.
I mean, but Kyle Rudolph already got. I don't even know how many catches he has,
He got
but
that touchdown though.
he got that touchdown.
Yeah.
So that's already kind of going right now. All right, what about Nick and
Yeah, Nick
Misha?
and Misha, this is going to be a close one too. I mean, Misha's got 80.5 right now. Nick's got 76.5, but Nick's got two people going. He's got Vikings D, Odell Beckham. So, some definite scoring should be happening there. And then Stefan Diggs for Misha. So, man, like, the projections on this thing are pretty fucking close too. So, this could go anyway.
Yeah, I'm actually right now. I'm looking at the what is this thing called the fantasy cast or whatever. So I can't see
Yeah.
the. It's not showing me the projections. It's just sort of. Oh wait. Okay, I see it. I see it. Yeah, projected 86 to 87.
Yeah.
Misha losing.
It's going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, and then of course we've got Chris and Joey. But I mean, Joey is technically finished at
Yep.
108.5, but Chris has got Sterling Shepard going right now, and he's not far behind. He's at 101. So all he
Basically,
needs.
yeah, if Sterling Shepard gets one touchdown, you have to think that's going to probably put him over Joey, unless it's like a little 5-yard touchdown. But you've got to think with some yards and the reception and 6 points, that would be potentially enough to put Chris just over Joey. So I'm sure Joey is sweating in his baby boy britches right now.
Those Joey britches. No, you know what's actually kind of surprising is we're not getting a fluster of text message. I feel like people are, dude, they're fucking sitting with their like head in hands like watching the
Yeah,
TV because this is like it's all coming down to one game for 3 matches, which is pretty crazy.
yeah. This is so far this year the most action from a Monday night game where this many people are on the line, and you've got a lot of different fantasy players in play right now. So this is pretty cool.
And the games are all close. It's not like the only
Yeah,
The only game that's well out of hand, and that's still going right now technically, is Jimmy and Phil. Phil is done. Jimmy is still going with Victor Cruz, but he's already at 166. Phil is at 106. So that's well out of hand. But okay, so
Jimmy's team, my God, they're talking about just going off.
Well, why don't we? Okay, this was a really another ridiculous weekend with some pretty shit performances from a lot of top players and some let's just say outlandish performances by others. So why don't we go ahead? Let's just do ourselves a favor. We'll save ours for last since it was a battle, I feel, and since we're the hosts of this show, we can do whatever we want.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about for instance what we were just talking about, Jimmy and Phil. Even though Jimmy still got Victor Cruz going, the game is well over, but it was still a pretty I guess up until that Sunday night game, it was a pretty good game.
I think it was for the most part. I mean, Jimmy had the head start with AJ Green.
Yeah, with
170 30 points. Like that's a nice head start going into the weekend. But Phil battling back with that Washington game was huge for him with Kirk Cousins just dishing to Jordan Reed.
Exactly.
Almost 50 points, almost half his team scored just from that game right there.
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy kept it real strong early with DeMarco Murray too, DeMarco Murray has been a monster this year so far.
I actually kind of want to get out of the fantasy cast and just back into the regular ESPN so I can actually...
you should pop that window up. But if we're breaking down DeMarco Murray, the first two games, rushing-wise, were like nothing too special. But
look at his numbers.
It's been that the receiving game has been going off for him.
I didn't even realize this. He is right now, DeMarco Murray right now is the #1 fantasy back.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. I think
somebody.
Yeah, I think interception. Yeah, that's going to be real good for Nick right there. And real bad for Derek.
Yeah, it was an Eli pick.
Eli pick. So Nick just gets 2 points right there. Derek.
No. Was that a fumble?
Was it a fumble?
Yeah, it was a fumble. It was a rushing fumble. It looks like.
Okay, they just zoomed into Eli, fucking ugly old Eli's face, and made it look like it was an interception. Let's see. No, that was an interception.
Wait a minute.
He just threw it right to him.
Wait, hold on a second. All right, let me see this. I'm getting. Okay.
You should probably look at this.
Well, see, I'm streaming this right now, and the fucking thing is way behind. It looks like
they've replayed it several times now.
Eli's got the ball. He's throwing it. It's a long bomb to a Minnesota player. Yeah, that was
God
okay.
Damn it. That's not good. So Derek just went down 2 points. So now he's got a couple points to make up here to catch back up to John. But Nick just pulled even closer to within Misha. So every play here, almost every play has some implications on somebody.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like seeing stuff like this, and I find it funny that nobody's texting.
Yeah, what's the deal? Silent over here.
Okay, so we know everything was going crazy. DeMarco was going really well. Frank Gore had a pretty impressive game.
Frank Gore, I got just a little thing on him. He has been pretty solid this year. Did not expect. I mean, obviously he's old, but he's like a tank. And just keeps chugging along, picking up yards. No, it's not too bad.
And then I guess the afternoon games, Phil had Melvin Gordon, who had 20. He's not doing bad either. His numbers over the first...
He's actually been solid, too. He's 17, 19 and a half, 15, 20. Man, what a come up from last year when Melvin Gordon couldn't even score a touchdown. And now he's got 6 touchdowns in the first 4 games. It's crazy.
That is crazy. And I thought Jimmy was going to be shitting himself, like really pissed off that Russell Wilson was sitting on his bench, when he started Big Ben, and Russell got 30.
Man.
But then that Sunday night game, Jesus, what did Ben have, like 3 touchdowns in like the first quarter or something?
I didn't even see that game. But
I saw the end of it, and I was like looking at some of the stats, and I was just like, oh my god, this looks silly. But
5 fucking touchdowns against the Chiefs, who their defense has been really good.
well, last week they just put up what? They had like they had like or 8 turnovers. They had 6 picks, 2 fumbles, and 2 touchdowns.
And then this week they get I think they're the first defense played by somebody in our league that had negative points. And it makes me feel pretty bad because I played Phil last week, and that defense just straight torched me, and I would have won if not for that defense going off.
That stupid defense.
Never know.
Well,
Man, though,
that was
Roethlisberger putting up a monster there. So, yeah, Jimmy had a huge come up on this one. Actually, I wanted to bring up the pick'ems too. I wanted to see what did we even pick for this one.
Well, okay. For this particular one, for the Phil and Jimmy,
we both picked Phil on this one.
Wow, Jimmy, you fucking just smacked us both in our faces.
Yeah,
you went like, oh really, dude? Big Ben fucking just raped us, dude. He fucking He sent us the fucking text message, the dick pic, and then he fucking stuck it in our asses. Like he was like, oh, you pick Phil this week, huh? Let me get just 5 touchdowns and 300 yards on you. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, we blew that one. Way to go, Jimmy. Solid victory by more than 60 points, and it's still going because you got Victor Cruz going right now. Although, like Sean said, Minnesota just got that pick, but that's okay. All right, so how about let's talk about Misha and Nikolai.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. This one's obviously pretty low scoring game. Neither team is projected to score more than 90 points here. So, God, and what I wouldn't give to have a matchup like one of these finally where, can play against somebody just putting up a dud week. But anyway, here nor there. What happened in this one? Well, Misha put Jamal Charles in, which this is the second week in a row for Misha where he's put an injured player into his lineup because they're going to play, and then they get him 0 points. Last week it was Rob Gronkowski, so he's not having some good luck yet with his early pick studs coming back from injury.
But he did not bench Jimmy Graham. He's seen the light shine, and Jimmy is back to form. The last 2 weeks he's had 6 receptions, over 100 yards in each game, 1 touchdown for one of the games. So that's not too bad. Bengals defense came up pretty. What they only 7 points allowed.
Yeah, that Thursday game.
Yeah, interception and a fumble recovery. Allen Robinson did what he needed to do.
He got another touchdown.
So that's not too bad. Cam Newton.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna get
to watch.
We're gonna get to the Atlanta game in just a second, but Cam had a great start to the season. He had 22 to start with, then 37, 4 touchdowns in the air. Did he have any on the ground? Has he had any on the ground? Okay, he's had 2 on the ground. Okay. Not that 37 game, but since then, the last 2 weeks, he's been 12 and 17.
And he's got the concussion protocol going on right now too.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, this match is still going. If New York gets their shit together, Nick's Vikings defense is going to start going down. Right now, it's got 11.
And he's got OBJ. I mean, only 3.5. You'd think. If especially we start getting into like the fourth quarter and Eli just has to start slinging it around a bunch, which he pretty much already has to do that because they're down.
It's 17. Yeah, exactly. And Misha's still got Stephon Diggs, who also has 3.5 currently right now. So we'll see.
This is a fun one. Gotta say for Nick, LaShawn McCoy has been just another stud year so far, putting up double digits at the very least every week and having a couple big weeks the last 2 weeks. So I would say he's been Nick's MVP here.
And if it wasn't for that one goose egg, Kelvin Benjamin would be Mr. Consistency. Also, he's been doing pretty well. But Jesus, what happened with Matt Stafford? That just
that game was pretty piss poor.
I did not. I didn't
No
see that game.
touchdowns and just a couple picks. I mean, I didn't see it either, but I was following it. But yeah, I feel like they just kept turning it over all over the place.
Well, I actually have to be honest with everybody. I didn't see almost all of the games. I saw some of the afternoon games and Sunday night and today's, but I was traveling all Sunday morning, coming back from Catalina, and I was listening to the Atlanta
Catalina wine mixer.
Oh, dude, there was actually a film festival going on when we were there. It was pretty kind of crazy, but even still, I was listening to the game on the radio as we're driving down once we got into back from the island into Dana Point. And as I'm listening to it, it's Cam Newton's not doing very well, and Matty Ice is just lighting shit on fire, just like literally pissing fire, just all over that field. It's that was pretty tough. But yeah, no, I didn't get to see many of the games. That 7 points from your quarterback for Matt Stafford is pretty disappointing. Cameron Artis Payne,
Cameron Artis Payne. I mean, thought he was a good a hot waiver pickup for the last couple weeks, but Carolina was behind in most of this game, so they kind of abandoned the run fairly early on. And then Nick also had to do a little free agent pickup with Mercedes Lewis since Julius Thomas was out, and that certainly didn't help him. I don't know who else is on the free agent list for tight ends right now. I mean, I would feel like somebody's got to be better than Mercedes Lewis, but Nick just has this obsession with Jacksonville.
Yeah, he has 4 players from Jacksonville still. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's.
And he has the handcuff to the tight end of Jacksonville.
Well, he has also got the handcuff to the running back in Jacksonville. So he has 2 handcuffs on Jacksonville. Plus, well, who else? No, I guess that's it.
He had Blake Bortles earlier this year, but
that's right.
Let him go. Which Blake Bortles would have been a better play this week than Matt Stafford would have won the week for Nick.
What did Blake Bortles have?
I think he put up like 20 or something like that.
Where can I see that? QBs.
Don't believe me, eh?
I just don't know. 29. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick would have been sitting pretty right now instead of sweating his balls off right now, hoping he can pull this game off.
Nick's always sweating his balls. Like
that's true. He's funny to watch because he's a lot of like, no.
A very animated character, that man.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have so we've gotten Derek and John.
Yeah, let's talk about Derek and John for a bit because.
We didn't. Oh, that's
right.
We
didn't talk about Derek, and we talked about that they have people in play. Kyle Rudolph just got another point or 2 here, so Derek's got a little more work to do. But man, John is just Mr. Super Lucky on the receivers this year so far. Last week he has Marvin Jones just blow up game. Huge points. And then he comes out this week with an even bigger week from Julio.
That's the thing. I don't think anybody thought somebody would have topped Marvin Jones's that was ridiculous. But Julio Jones comes on out with 12 receptions, which is 6 points already. That's just a touchdown right there. With just
catches. If they were all 1 yard, he would still have a pretty decent week.
Yeah. Okay. Then you add the 300 yards and a touchdown to go along with that. 45 points. Thank you, Matty Ice. That is ridiculous.
One thing I can't believe though is I feel like Julio should have gotten more points. I don't know how you get 300 yards but still only get 1 touchdown.
It was because if I remember correctly, there were a lot Matt Ryan. I think only had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I know one of them went to Tammy. It was I think Tammy only had 1 or 2 catches, but one of them was for a touchdown.
You would just think if you're literally covering the field 3 full times over, that you would probably, the chances of getting into the end zone more than once are pretty high in that case. So
Well, I always feel like the way Julio Jones is kind of the same way with AJ Green. Like I've always thought of those two as just so similar.
yeah,
Like you can just throw it up and these guys will just eat a just large chunk of the field. Like, they're used to getting these like 30, 40 yard catches. Like, and
they
then
can
all of a
make
sudden
huge, like AJ Green can just jump super high and make a catch. Julio keeps catching these like over the shoulder one-handed grabs, and he's just like burning everyone down the line, just
and then
unstoppable.
right, and then they get all the way down to the end of the field, and then you can have something else rather than like a play for him or a play for Julio. But funny enough, if it wasn't for like obviously Julio's monster, and Derek Carr had a pretty impressive game, 4 touchdowns at 31. But other than that, John had a kind of a quiet week. Nobody
his
else
team
on
was
his
shit beyond that.
Nobody else.
Honestly, it was fucking garbage.
The garbage. They call me Mr. Stinky Pants. Dude, I have to give John the crown for the constant name changing. That's always somehow a podcast theme. That's pretty awesome.
I like it. I don't know if he'll end up changing from this. I think he should keep Stinky Papa Pants because it's just very fitting.
Now, and even though John's like coming away with a pretty high score at 125, we're saying he had a shit performance other than those 2 players. Derek, I would actually say, had a really, really good week.
It was pretty polarizing.
Yeah, he has a lot of people in double digits. He's got Mark Ingram, Isaiah Crow. Both of his backs were almost at
really
averaging 20 points. He also had Antonio Brown, who thanks to Ben Roethlisberger, what did he have?
2 touchdowns.
I guess that's it. Yeah, 64 yards, 4 catches, not too impressive. Emmanuel Sanders, though, 8 catches, 88 yards and a touchdown. So that's pretty impressive. Greg Olsen was I guess one of the only performing Panthers. 76 and a TD at 18. And even Adam Vinatieri got him some points. 12 points.
Seriously. But then he had some pretty polarizing performances, like Deshaun Jackson getting half a point. Raiders defense didn't look too great. Eli is not looking good right now with 2 points only. So we'll see. I mean, with so many good performances, that's what you would want to see for the most part. We'll see if he can pull it out here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be pretty close. Man, this game of Chris's is not. Now that I'm sorry. What am I doing? Clicking on the wrong.
You want to go to Chris and Joey?
Yeah, well, I was actually just thinking about that because theirs is really, really close. Also, they were only what 7 points or so. Wow, Joey and Chris, man, they actually
had similar weeks. It looks like.
Yeah, very, very similar weeks.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, some positions that didn't perform and other positions that really did come through. I would say Le'Veon, when Chris needed him to show up for the first time, he definitely did. C.J. Anderson, I don't think he was looking all that great that game, but I think he pulled it out with the touchdown. So, yeah, 10.5. Let's see. Will Fuller had a pretty impressive
Will Fuller had a nice game to my chagrin. But, yeah, he's been a solid pick minus that game last week.
Yeah, that's true. Joey, kind of the same thing. David Johnson, Christine. David Johnson has been super consistent. Yeah, so he's the number 2 ranked back so far this season, and doing really well. Christine Michael has
been a nice. I think Joey drafted him, but that's been a nice play the last couple weeks.
Like 2 weeks. Yeah, I think so. And Brandon Marshall, obviously, did pretty well with Decker out. But other than that, Kelsey got that last minute TD.
Yep. Otherwise, would have been a very quiet game.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
Chris must be pretty bummed about that New England game because I mean he's got arguably the best kicker in the league with Gostkowski, who normally will give you at least 5 to 10, if not more, and he got a goose egg from that, and so that's making his night tonight a lot tougher.
And he had Patriots defense that didn't do all that much. And okay, so let's talk about really quickly Delanie Walker.
Yeah.
How did Delaney Walker get onto that team? I wonder.
What do you mean? He's had Delaney Walker this whole year.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Has he? Because it looks to me like Delaney Walker will be going over to you. Is that correct?
He's gonna be coming my way. That's right. I totally forgot. Like the first trade of our league hasn't gone through yet, but it's been accepted, and
it's been accepted.
We'll go through tomorrow morning. So yeah, Delaney Walker's coming my way. And my whole thought, well, Chris was trying to do some other trades first that I just wasn't really into.
Ooh, talk about these.
Yeah,
I mean, this is kind of an exclusive thing. I know, like if Chris was here, he would be like, no, we're not going to. But I'm kind of curious, and I obviously feel if I am, this is just like the NFL. There aren't any real secrets. Kept.
Yeah.
These owners, they all talk to each other.
At this point, I mean, it's not really a secret anymore. I mean, there's nothing like totally mind blowing that's happening, especially when a trade's already gone through.
But he wasn't trying to finagle you for like something ridiculous. He was just shopping for something else on your team.
I wouldn't say finagling, as maybe a questionable lowball, seeing if he could, get away with a little something. He kept trying to package up Tevin Coleman and somebody else. I'm trying to remember who else it was. Maybe a receiver. Actually, no, I can't remember who it was. I have to go through my text. But he kept trying to package up Tevin Coleman and trying to get DeAndre Hopkins from my team. And I mean, he kept doing Tevin Coleman and somebody else, and I was just like, man, that's my first round pick. Like, it's gonna take a lot for me to give up my first round pick, especially.
What would it take?
PPR.
What would it take to give up your first round pick? Would it take another first round pick or something else? Like
I told him, like it would have taken. Like somebody that I can use now that I know I'm going to get good production from.
If he
like
had,
like a CJ Anderson and maybe somebody else that I could like stash on my bench.
If he had, so you were looking for a tight end. If he had Jordan Reed, would you trade DeAndre Hopkins for Jordan Reed?
Man, I don't know if I would, just because DeAndre Hopkins is arguably a top couple. One of the
he could be a top
receivers.
3.
I mean, Jordan Reed's maybe the best tight end right now, but it just doesn't make sense to give up, your first round pick for, the top tight end. I don't think. And I mean, unless your team is just so juiced up that
that's funny enough that you say that, because I would say if there was a position where you were particularly juiced up at, it would be wide receiver.
Well,
but
I do agree, and that's why I said, look, I think there's nothing we can do that will warrant that we'll be happy with getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins. And
what if he wasn't going after DeAndre Hopkins? What if he went after Jordy Nelson?
He did also say Jordy Nelson, and man, I'm really hot on Jordy Nelson this year. It could be slightly irrational, but I just think like he's fully recovered from his injury and he's super lined up. I just think he's going to have a really, really good season, and I just don't want to lose him. I don't want to see him go to somebody else's team and do really well. That alone would make me cry too much. So, and I was like, well, I am pretty strong at wide receiver. So I'm like, well, I have Jordan Matthews, who is a pretty damn good receiver, has been really good this year. Maybe, and I'm worried about Gary Barnidge because I'm worried about the whole Browns quarterback situation. And right. I had Delaney Walker last year, and I really liked him. And I knew also that Chris had Eric Ebron from Detroit as a tight end on his bench. And so I was like, well, you need a receiver. I want tight end help. Why don't we do something that's a little bit less sexy, but it's still, we each get what we want realistically.
You guys need to go for the sexy. You always got to go for the sexy.
Hand it to Chris for, trying to do something sexier. Oh, God.
Hey,
that just sounds
you know
so
what?
funny.
No, I'm handing it to both of you guys because you guys actually did. You made a trade that you guys want. Like, I'm happy to see trades Like that,
Yeah.
it's
Same.
not something like to try to fuck over some other team and just make your team like super awesome. The whole idea is you need to like you do trades to fix your team. Like doesn't
Exactly.
matter if you're 3-0, 4-0, you still make a trade because not every team is perfect.
Yeah.
You need to plug those holes, and that's the whole idea. If you can't find it on the waivers, that's the idea. And you sort of give up your strengths. Like, so yeah, so if you need tight end help and you're strong at wide receiver, give up one of those wide receivers in order to bring in some tight end help. It totally makes sense. Like that's, Joey likes to give me so much shit because when I traded him Jordy Nelson, and Jordy Nelson had like one of his best seasons, my team was dying. Like I was bleeding out at tight end, and I desperately needed somebody. And what's his name? The other Browns, Jordan Cameron.
Oh,
he was on a nice little hot streak. He was having a couple big first few weeks. Yeah, exactly. And so I needed to plug a hole. Unfortunately for me, Jordan Cameron did not pick up his juice.
Yeah,
and
that's one where the tides completely turned. Like I don't think Jordy was doing too much to get started, and then just all of a sudden had a really good year.
Yeah, and so but that's the way these things work. So you could be giving up Jordan Matthews, and you don't think he's going to be your top receiver, but hey, Carson Wentz just happens to kick ass the rest of the year, and
that's the funny thing about this trade, which Chris and I were talking about today, and I think he thought he texted me out of nowhere today, like you sly devil is what he said to me. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? And it is interesting because him and I are playing each other next week, so we're about to do our trade and have our players go against each other. But I forgot that I also have Carson Wentz, who I need next week because Drew Brees is going to be on a bye. So a lot of it's going to cancel each other out. Like he just is going to get Jordan Matthews. But if Jordan Matthews gets yards and touchdowns, that's coming from the quarterback that I'll be playing, and kind of vice versa. So there's going to be a lot of like canceling out of points going on in our matchup next week, which I didn't even realize.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a sly little move, and that is going to be pretty interesting to see how that will play out. But hey, congrats! I'm glad to see.
We'll see.
Trade
Hopefully.
was made.
I mean, looking at it this week, I played Barnage because I didn't have any other choice. He didn't do too bad. He got like 8-9 points or something like that, and Delaney Walker only got 3.5. But I mean, still, if I'm a betting man, I would do a board bet right now if someone wanted to take it up, that Delaney Walker will have more points through the rest of the year starting now than Gary Barnage, but I'm not sure who would really take that bet.
I'm not gonna disagree with that bet, especially with the quarterback situation in Cleveland. So
Exactly.
No, that's fine. But we could actually, speaking of our matchup, I guess we could get to it.
I was just going through real quick. It looks like not much change has gone on in this Monday night game for all the matchups that have implications. So yeah, good time to jump right into our matchup here.
Yeah, not too much has happened. Nick's 2 points away from Misha. Derek's actually a little bit closer. Nope, no change really.
Eli's got the ball right now, so we can check back into that one.
We'll see what happens. Okay, but so going to our matchup now. This didn't start all that great for me. I mean, we had the Thursday night game where I think it was just me that was going with Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
and he
17. I was feeling pretty good after that. At least could have been worse.
Now, by the time I started leaving the campsite, when we got up in the morning, the London game was already going. And that was kind of hard for me to follow.
Yeah, you had T.Y. Hilton going in that game, and I remember I woke up, and it was like the third quarter, and T.Y. Hilton only had like 1 or 2 points.
Right.
And I was like, all right, fuck yeah, like that would be nice if he can just stay steady. Nothing crazy going on, and then all of a sudden Andrew Luck just starts slinging it around trying to make a late comeback, and T.Y. Hilton got that touchdown, and I was like, fuck. All right, that changes everything there, so I'm not going to get too much help from T.Y. Hilton.
And then who were the other morning games for all of us that started? Did you have?
I had a few. I had
Houston and Tennessee, that
I
was a
think
morning game,
that,
wasn't it?
yeah, Houston and Tennessee was, and yeah, man, DeAndre Hopkins, what a piece of shit game. Like, he didn't even get his first catch until, well, the only catch he got was in the fourth quarter, and it
Oh
was a
my
4 yard
God.
catch. So I'm just like, what is going on in this game? And Will Fuller putting up like 21 points, having himself a nice day. Was
Yeah.
just like, come on, like why are they not throwing the ball to your fucking stud receiver? So I hope that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I mean, you just gotta cross your fingers. Hey, that Jordan Howard didn't turn out too bad
Yeah,
for
that
for
was
you,
nice actually. He didn't have any touchdowns.
but
But
111 on
yeah,
the
he was
ground,
running very well, and even
3 receptions.
yeah, even with Chicago, they weren't like up really. It was a pretty low-scoring, close game, but it was nice to see they just kept feeding the ball to Jordan
Hmm.
Howard, and he was averaging, something like 5 yards per carry or something. So, definitely like to see that. But then I had Matt Forte against Seattle, and I knew that was going to be tough, but I was hoping for a little bit more than 4 points on that. So certainly no help there.
Yeah, I mean they only allowed 3 points. On defense, or sorry, they had 3 interceptions. Because you had the Seahawks defense.
Yeah,
You guys
so
allowed
at least that was
17.
nice. At least Fitzpatrick was throwing some interceptions, so that was helpful.
Yeah, and I also had, let's see, so I had Lamar Miller going in that Tennessee Houston game, and he came away. He had a pretty decent showing. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not doing where I think his draft status got him picked up. I think he was my second round pick, and he is the 19th highest running back, so he's not doing
yeah.
great. But at the
He's
same
been
time,
consistent. I mean, at least
he's
he's
been
giving
consistent.
you double digits every
Double
week, but
digits.
still waiting
That's
for that breakout game though.
I need that touch. He hasn't got a touchdown, not
Oh
a single
man,
touchdown
yeah,
yet.
that's it right there. Yeah, his yardage, his games have been very consistent.
Yeah, so all he needs is one of those touchdowns, and he's going to have a 20-point game, and I'll be much happier with that. Then we had let's see, for me, I had. Oh, well, let's talk about the Dallas game, because we both had both of our backs were going that game.
At this point, I kind of felt like things were getting a little bit out of hand because we haven't really touched on the Panthers game where you had Panthers defense, and they would have had a much worse game if they got a touchdown though and an
They got that
interception,
touchdown,
which
that
really
saved.
helped them because
They could have also had negative points
48
because
points against them. Yeah, that touchdown and interception saved them from negative points.
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about the big elephant in the room for me was the fact that I had got cute at the very beginning of the week, and I benched Matt Ryan because he was going up against the Carolina defense, and I'm like, this doesn't look like it's going to be good. I went with Andy Dalton, and on that drive down, I was just listening to 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. I was just this is just the biggest mistake I've ever made in fantasy football. I'm going to lose this week. There's no doubt about it. And making a mistake this big was super costly. But the Panthers did come away with that 1 pick six. So that helped me a little bit. That Buffalo game, man, that really hurt me. My 2 Patriots did not do very well.
Yeah, Edelman only 1 catch. Blunt just having a very pedestrian game. Man, so that definitely didn't help you. But at the same time, the Baltimore Raiders game was going. And I mean, Michael Crabtree, had a decent start to the game. I think he had a touchdown in the first.
He had
half.
like a touchdown, yeah, exactly. It was like a typical game like he's had in the past, like it was hovering around like 10 or 11 points or something.
Yeah, which I was like, okay, keep it in check. Please God, keep it in check. And boy, did he not keep it in check.
No, you were saying in that text message, like when you saw the third touchdown.
I was watching that game because it was actually on TV up here, and there was like a series of events where Baltimore had like a costly penalty against them that continued the drive for Oakland. Like Oakland would have had to punt it or field goal or something like that. And then the very next play, because of that penalty, was like a 30-yard touchdown to Crabtree. And I was just like, oh, man, I was so fucking pissed. And then he got another touchdown after that. And then, man, like you have Eric Decker, who's, really solid. Facing that injury obviously now, and I was like, yes, like Brian can't play Eric Decker. He's going to have to fill it in. And boy, oh boy, what a fill-in you had there.
Yeah, I know. I mean that he saved my week again. I feel like Michael Crabtree has saved my ass like multiple times
Dude,
this
he
season.
has been really good. Well, pretty damn good. Like all of a sudden goes to the Raiders and he's got a nice thing going with Derek Carr.
Yeah, he's got 4 touchdowns already this year. His targets are ridiculous. He's got almost as many targets as Amari Cooper, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty interesting. So that's going to be one to watch like for the rest of the year. Let's see. And Carlos, I wanted to go back to that Dallas SF game.
Yeah. We both had the opposing running backs in that game.
And if it wasn't for that one game against Carolina, Carlos Hyde has had a really impressive season so far.
He's actually been very, very solid other than that one game.
I would not have guessed it. Like I would not have drafted him. I mean, hey, you props to you for making that.
He
choice.
Wasn't somebody who I had my eye on coming into the draft. It was more of just like where the draft fell at that time, and I needed a running back, and at least he's starting. But yeah, he's definitely outperformed what I expected, so that's been a nice surprise.
Yeah, I would say so. And funny
Zeke
enough,
Elliott, though, what a I wouldn't say a breakout because he might have broken out last game, but that was a pretty nice game for him, though.
Yeah, I did get to see that touchdown, and I was that was a big yes, way to go, Zeke.
Yeah, our game at that point was very much like I had a couple people going. Like I had Drew Brees going, I had Carlos Hyde going, I had Cole Beasley going as well. So I had a chance to really catch things up, and all you had was Zeke Elliott left.
Yep.
But Drew Brees just could not get it going, and there was just so many times where they would get to the freaking 1 yard line and then they would just run it in, and I was like, shit. So just couldn't have the real big game that I needed from Drew Brees to help me out there.
Yeah, it was a tough game for me to watch personally, but I have to say the way it played out for me was very fantasy friendly. So, yeah, but that's all I'm going to say about that fucking garbage fucking franchise of a team, the Chargers. Anyway,
that's tough, man. Well, you're about to go to 3-1, so you're going to be in a very good position. If John loses, you'll be tied for the best record. So you're in a pretty good spot right now, I would say.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, the way the standings I think are going to shake up now, depending on let's actually go back to the scoreboard really quickly just to see if anything. Ooh, Derek is inching his way.
Derek's inching very close. Nick is going the wrong way because his defense just had more points against them.
Oh, they was it a touchdown?
Yeah, it was a rushing touchdown by the Giants.
Gotcha. Oof. Well, that's not good.
Still got almost a whole quarter to play, and it's a pretty close game. So I definitely anticipate some more points coming in and out here. So it should be still interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. But yeah, so if Derek can, dude. Go Derek, man. Wait, okay.
Yeah.
Can we actually, now that we've gone through all of the...
look at the pick'ems now?
I do kind of want to look at the pick'ems just really quickly.
All right, well, I mean, technically you picked yourself. I don't think we should be able to get points for our own games because we're just going to pick ourselves every time.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, if you're...
come on.
All right, fine. Then that's it. We won't count the times when we're voting for ourselves. But wait a minute. But what if we get that right though?
I mean, then it's nice.
All right, fine. We just won't count it.
I'm only saying that because I think so a lot of people have been picking my team when we have guests on or whatever. Need to stop picking my own team because it's fucking cursing me right now. So I'm not picking my own team anymore.
Okay, fine. We will not pick. We will not vote for our teams. We'll try to have guests on, and we'll get them to be the votes for when it comes to our matchups.
So
but
it's going to be hard to say what happens with these pick'ems. Oh, was that Rudolph? Yeah, I think that's Kyle Rudolph. Just got another like 20-yard grab. So Derek's gonna have some work. It's gonna be tough for these pick'ems because we don't know who's gonna win yet. So in Joey and Chris's game, which still is very close, I picked Joey and you picked Chris. So we'll see how that goes.
Come on, Sterling Shepard. Let's do this. Come on, he's not going the right direction. I mean, Joey's stuck. He doesn't have anybody going. He's 108.5.
Yeah, he is stuck here.
Chris has got what 6 more points to go, and that's it. That's all he needs is one. He just needs touchdown. one touchdown. That's it, or a lot of yardage. So
yeah, and then let's see, Misha and Nick's game. Both of us picked Misha, which as of right now is looking good, but you never know. It's still very close. For Derek and John, I picked John, hoping that I would curse him, and you picked Derek because we want Derek to win. So we'll see.
Right now, it's looking you. Kyle Rudolph's sitting on 13.5.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph's having a nice game. Derek really needs Eli to take his head out of his ass and start doing something productive.
You know what's so funny is that Eli throws a pass and it's not to either Odell or fucking Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, like the odds of it not having much impact. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, that would just watch both Nick and fucking Chris just start throwing shit up against the wall. Like, okay, so we'll see what happens.
We've got to wait. Yeah, we've got to wait. So
what about Jimmy and Phil? What did we say?
Remember we both picked Phil.
Jesus, we got smoked this week.
Yeah, we got smoked on that one. So we shall see what happens here. But man, yeah, we could turn this podcast into like a play-by-play on this Monday night game, but it'd be going on for a long time. So probably.
Well, we're not doing a preview of this next upcoming week. We're going to record one again, like later on down the line. I think we're going to have Chris with us next time. Yeah. We're doing this, so. Yeah, it should be cool. And also, before we actually get on off, I wanted to say, so we really like the idea of having people come on, to the podcast and just talk with us. It's really, really easy. All you guys need is a Skype account, and we can make it happen. So next, we're gonna let you guys know when this podcast comes on out or comes out. Let us know when you guys are like available to do it. We'd love to have everybody on this year if we can. So, let us know what your schedules are, and we'll see if we can't make something happen.
Yeah, would love to get some fresh voices onto the podcast and let us know what you think about fantasy and the league and your team. So, yeah, that'd be super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess everybody, I hope everybody enjoys the game. Jerick McKinnon, 4-yard run for a TD.
That helps no one.
Nobody. Yeah. Well, sorry, Charlie. All right. Well, I guess that's it for us. But so I guess we'll be catching you guys a little bit later on in the week, right?
Later, dudes.
Peace out, homies.